For today's webinar, we are going to be focusing on um, 4 different areas. So for this webinar, we'll be focusing on 4 different areas. The first area would be why gut health matters. Why gut health matters. The second thing that we'll be focusing on is signs your gut is out of sync. Okay? Signs that your gut is out of sync. Number 3, everyday gut disruptors. So those things that, affect us, our focus, concentration, results in brain fog, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, reflux, everyday gut disruptors. Then we'll be going over 5 gut reset strategies you can start today. Okay. So we won't just look at what the issue is. We will actually be focusing on how we can help you to reset your gut. All right. Then we'll be also focusing on an exercise to help us to get our gut back up to par. Okay. How we're going to be getting our gut up back to par. Different tools, resources that we have available for you to ensure that you get the most out of this presentation. Okay. Within our digestive tract. So that means basically gut health is directly tied, interrelated to our digestive system, our GI tract, right? So that influences how well we recover when we get sick, and even how we respond to allergies and inflammation. Second, the gut brain axis. Okay, that's a way how the brain and the GI system communicates through that gut brain axis system. Okay, so our mood, our focus, even anxiety or depression can be linked to gut imbalances, right? So our microbiome, that's the area where our good and bacteria lives, it thrives in our gut. Okay, helps to regulate, keep that balance, keep us feeling energized. Because a lot of times when our GI tract is off, you will tend to feel pretty much fatigued and have brain fog. Okay, so when we have that great balance in our GI tract, we tend to feel energized. There's no more brain fog. There's no more you putting the orange juice in the cupboard scenario that's taking place. Okay, because we have that clear focus, and we are emotionally stable. All right. So our gut plays a key role in nutrient absorption. So if we have issues in our GI tract, so like a lot of mucus, inflammation, it's hard for us to be able to absorb the nutrients from the food that actually passes through our GI system. So that's why it's very important for us after the age of 45 to get a colonoscopy to look for conditions such as irritable bowel disease, because that affects our ability to absorb nutrients, thus impacting our weight. Okay, so even our skin. So if our GI tract isn't well or balanced, it will affect the quality, the glow of our skin. Okay, so how can we tell when our GI tract or our gut is basically out of sync? Okay, so I have some signs for you guys. So bloating, gas, constipation, low energy or brain fog, food cravings, acne or skin flare-ups, anxiety or mood swings. So that's just a couple of ways in which we can tell when our gut isn't aligned. Okay, so that's just a few ways that we can tell that our gut isn't aligned. Your gut isn't balanced. Acne, flare-ups, anxiety, mood swings. And these symptoms can just appear out of nowhere, after continuous unhealthy habits. So there is a saying, garbage in, garbage out. So if you put a lot of things that are unhealthy in the body, it's going to affect your gut health, in turn affecting, how well your body performs. Because I like to tell clients and patients that your body is a vehicle, okay? You have to run regular maintenance after, how many miles or how many years have gone. You have to run regular maintenance on your vehicle or your bodies for it to run or for it to be optimized, okay? Because if not, you're going to find yourself with a lot of issues, okay? Such as being bloated after meals, craving sugar. A lot of times when you say, oh my goodness, I could eat this, I could eat that, and it's unhealthy options, sometimes that's a sign, an early warning sign that your body telling you, hey, that your GI tract isn't well, okay? So if you're feeling unusually tired or foggy, your gut may be missing something, right? And we want to be able to identify these early on, because if not, you're going to have some issues, okay? And we don't want that. All right. So throughout the webinar, you are free to drop your questions in the chat box, and I'll be sure to get back to you and answer those questions at the end of the presentation. Okay. So drop your questions in the interim in the chat box, and we'll be sure to go ahead and answer those questions for you. So let's go deeper. Bloating, gas, constipation, okay? So this could mean that your gut is struggling to process food properly. Maybe there's a lack of digestive enzymes, or an imbalance between the good bacteria and the bad bacteria. So if you're only having a bowel movement a few times for the week, that's a red flag, okay? Or if you're feeling uncomfortably full often, even if you're not eating well, that's also a red flag. So that may mean that your gut system is clogged, okay? Or isn't running or moving as it should. As it relates to the food cravings, especially for sugar or carbs, that could be a sign that there is an overload of bad bacteria in your gut, asking it to be fed basically with the bad stuff, such as the sugars. And these cravings aren't just a behavioral component, okay? They are a sign. Your body often gives you warning signs, just like a car gives you a warning sign when the check engine light comes on. Same thing that your body does, okay? So if you have low energy or fatigued often, or have brain fog. So what is brain fog? So brain fog is you kind of, your brain slowly processing, if you will, in that moment. So that's considered brain fog. Or forgetting where you put your keys, forgetting what you said 5 minutes ago, putting things in places where they do not belong usually. That's brain fog, okay? Having acne or skin flare-up issues, such as dull skin or eczema, can often trace back to your gut, okay? When the gut is inflamed or leaking toxins into the bloodstream, the skin tries to eliminate those toxins, okay? Anxiety, having mood swings. 1 minute I'm happy, 1 minute I'm sad, 1 minute I'm just feeling blue. Your gut produces what is called neurotransmitters, okay? And neurotransmitters are just basically communication signals, such as serotonin. And an imbalance in your gut can quite literally mess with your mood, okay? And results in you feeling often depressed. Okay, so not all the times when you're feeling anxious, depressed, and other things are going on, there's always a root cause. And it's always good, as opposed to putting a band-aid on these issues, it's always good to figure out what's the root cause, okay? Because when we put a band-aid on it, the issue probably stops for now, but it tends to worsen or impact another component, resulting in a multi-component issue in the long run, which is what we do not want, okay? So let us move on to looking at everyday gut disruptors. What are gut disruptors? Basically, things that negatively affect our gut. Okay. So our gut is a community of good, bad bacteria, things to digest our food and basically absorb the nutrients that is found within the food. So things that disrupt this negatively influence how that environment is going to thrive. So having or being in a high stress environment. So stress is a thing that one, we can't get rid of it, unfortunately. So we have to learn how to thrive or overcome stress, basically. And stress affects everything, every component, every organ is affected by stress. Okay. So we have to be able to navigate from this and be able to overcome it. Okay. And we can show you how to do this. The next disruptor is poor sleep. So poor or inconsistent sleep doesn't give your gut time to rest, repair, and reset. Okay. So it is shown that lack of sleep reduces the diversity of your gut microbiome. And we said that's the community of the gut where the good bacteria lives. Okay. So if you're waking up feeling groggy or reaching for caffeine first thing, just to function, that means that there is a disruption in that system due to possibly because of lack of sleep. Processed food. So this one is a major influencer in our gut health. Okay. Processed foods and added sugars. Processed foods and added sugars are big on how they influence our gut health. Okay. Because these foods are quick, convenient, and sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, they're very tasty. So these are like your lunch meats, your anything that isn't fresh, anything that is preserved is considered processed. Okay. So your sausage, your bologna, your bacon, your lunch meats, anything like that is considered processed. Okay. And I may get a 5 for this, but even tofu is considered processed because it's not fresh. It's not in its natural state. Okay. And anything with added sugar. So we spoke about reading food labels, and down in the middle of that food label, usually you will see total sugars and additional sugar. So even though it says total sugar at the top, there is some products that have additionally added sugar, and those you want to just put to the side, stay clear of these because they are really harmful, not only to your gut but other processes such as your kidneys. Okay. And in another discussion we'll talk about your kidneys. All right. So medication. So a lot of times I've seen, because I also work as a nurse practitioner and I work in primary care where we see both acute and chronic patients. A lot of time at the first sniffle or 1 week of having the sniffles, we tend to want to request antibiotics. No, antibiotics have been around for ages, but we also have to remember that with antibiotics, overuse of antibiotics, meaning that inappropriate use of antibiotics, one, your body becomes immune to it because guess what? Bacteria, they're very smart. Okay, these bad bacteria, they're very smart. And each time they come in contact with the antibiotic medication, they actually they're able to mirror and put a chip, basically recall that antibiotic, and they're able to avoid that antibiotic. So that is how we have a lot of drug resistant bacteria present because of the overuse of antibiotics. And one popular antibiotics that we love to overuse, yes, is the Z-Pak, the Zithromax, azithromycin. That's one common antibiotic that we tend to overuse because guess what? The first sign of sniffles, I'm going to the urgent care and I'm going to get a Z-Pak and I'm going to get me some prednisone and I'm going to be straight. Yes, it may help you to recover quickly, but a lot of these times, a lot of these illnesses that you have, sniffles, are not because of bacteria related, but viral. And sometimes they take a little bit longer to be eliminated from the system. Okay. So we really want to preserve the use of antibiotics until we absolutely, absolutely need it because we don't want, one, for our bodies to get immune to it, and two, antibiotics disrupt both good and bad bacteria. So when that happens, you tend to put yourself in a scenario for my females, especially, it disrupts the good bacteria, not only in the gut, but in the vaginal area. And that's how we get yeast infections while we're on antibiotic therapy, because it disrupts that good and bad bacteria there. Okay. So we want to leave those for when we absolutely, absolutely need to use antibiotics. Okay. So the disruptors, think of them like termites, okay? They're small, almost invisible, but if left unchecked, they can cause a lot of damage, guys, a very much a lot of damage, okay? But the good news, once you're aware, we can start to make the necessary changes. And at the Practitioner Synergy Collective, we are here to help you to navigate, not to feel overwhelmed in making these lifestyle changes or making these lifestyle shifts, okay? So now that we are aware of the importance of our gut, now that we're aware of the importance of our gut, and we are also aware of the key role it plays in our health and our holistic being, and that now that we're aware of how these everyday gut disruptors, such as high stress environment, poor sleep, processed foods, sugar overload, and overuse of antibiotics can impact not only our gut health, but can also impact our overall being, let us look at some strategies that we can implement to be able to overcome this. Okay? Now that we are aware, let us go strategies that we can incorporate to help us to be able to navigate our gut health. Okay, so strategy number one. Strategy number one. Let us focus on starting with food swaps. So strategy number one is to start with food swaps, okay? So one, we want to add more what is called prebiotic foods, all right? Prebiotic foods. So I have the experience of both worlds, if you will. I am a healthcare provider, and I'm also a health coach. So in both arenas, I teach patients, clients of the importance of food and lifestyle changes, because as simple as it may seem, food and lifestyle changes are the foundation of good health. Yes, I agree that at times, we're so far gone that we need the help and assistance of medication, pharmaceuticals, but the goal is to always take your medications while making these lifestyle changes, so that the goal is to ultimately be able to rely on lifestyle changes solely. Okay? So food is always first medicine. Prebiotics now, on the other hand, are foods for your good bacteria. So these help to cultivate good bacteria. So they are the fertilizers of your gut garden. So foods like your bananas, your oats, your garlic, okay, asparagus are good sources of prebiotic foods that help to rebuild the good bacteria in the body. Okay. Probiotic, on the other hand, are the good guys. Okay. These are bacteria found in foods like yogurt, sauerkraut, okay, and kefir. Reducing processed sugars. So you're going to hear me talk about reducing processed foods, reducing processed sugar products a lot as a health coach, because these are the culprits that are damaging our temple, our bodies, our engine, whatever you want to call it. It's damaging all ways around. Okay. So you want to reduce your processed sugars, so that you're not feeding the harmful bacteria and yeast in your gut. Okay. So making the small swaps, like switching sugary cereals to oats, and adding a tablespoon of fermented foods, can go a long way in helping to keep your gut environment healthy. Okay. So, strategy number 2. Okay. All right. Strategy number 2. Water, 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 water. I can't stress it enough. Water is life. Okay. Water is life. Strategy number 2 is focusing on hydration and elimination. Okay. Drinking water is life. Okay. Hydration helps keep things moving in our digestive system. Basically, a sluggish gut can lead to toxin buildup, okay, which affects our mood and our energy. So aim to drink about half your total body weight in water daily. All right. So if you're 160 pounds, drink about 80 ounces of water. But hold on, it is very important for us to not get caught up in fad diets and fad healthcare changes. Always consult your healthcare provider. Because why I'm saying this, because for patients who have what is called heart failure, you can't drink as much as someone who does not have heart failure, because due to the weakening of your heart, you'll end up having what is called fluid overload. So it's always important, before you're making any minor or major change towards your health, to consult your healthcare provider to ensure that you're doing something that is safe and does not negatively affect your body. Okay? So, not drinking enough water will dry your poop out. And having dry poop, the longer it stays in the body, the harder it gets. And then that is where constipation comes in. So, drinking more water softens your poop and helps you to have regular bowel movements. Okay? So, we definitely want to ensure that we're drinking enough water. All right. Elimination, constipation, basically. So elimination is a process of getting toxins, waste from the body. Okay. And the only way to do that is to poop, to have a regular bowel movement. So can you imagine not having a regular bowel movement, and all that waste toxin basically is building up in the body, making you feel sluggish, bloated, and just dragged? Okay. So you have to make sure that your foods are nutrient dense, high fiber, and water, hydration, to have regular daily bowel movements. If you're only having bowel movements twice a week, that's a red flag. If you're having bowel movements once a week, that's a red flag. Okay? So it's very important for us to ensure that we're staying hydrated and as well as making sure that we're eating nutrient-dense foods. Okay? Number 3, stress less, breathe more. Stress less, breathe more. When you're stressed, and as I said, stress isn't going anywhere, but it negatively impacts a lot of things in our body. When you're stressed, your nervous system shifts into fight or flight mode. Ever, either scared, nervous, and you not only feel it jittery in your body, but you feel that what we normally call butterflies in your stomach, brain, gut connected. So stress less, okay? Because high stress levels shifts us into fight or flight, which affects how well we digest, okay? So basically, stress literally over time can reshape your gut bacteria, your gut health. So I normally recommend a try 5-5-5 breathing. Inhale for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, and then exhale for 5 seconds. As simple as it is, it helps us to refocus, lower our anxiety, and help us to be able to get out of that scenario of fight or flight mode. Okay? So a few breaths throughout the day can really, really change or help us in terms of how we are responding to stress or a stressful scenario. Okay? Number 4, sleep and gut healing. So this is a very tricky scenario here because a lot of the times, you see a lot of patients, including myself, who have challenges with sleep. All right. Some persons may have issues with falling asleep, staying asleep, and not being able to rest well. Basically, being restless during your sleep. Okay. Without adequate sleep, your body won't be able to focus on repair, recharging its batteries for a new day. Poor sleep reduces the gut bacteria diversity, meaning the balance between the good, the bad bacteria. Okay. And when we're not getting enough rest, that affects our concentration, our ability to focus. And if you have sleep apnea, snore, that can even affect other things such as your blood pressure. Okay. So we have to try to keep a consistent sleep cycle. So we have to practice sleep hygiene, and such things like sleep hygiene includes having a set bedtime. That's hard for some persons because of what you have going on at home. But try to round it to the closest hour of being consistent on the weekdays or weekends, depending on what time of the day you're working, okay? Try to avoid screens within 2 hours of going to bed. A lot of times we're just scrolling until we fall asleep scrolling. That's not good for our sleep hygiene, okay? And another thing we have to try to avoid is eating heavy meals before bedtime. Because eating a heavy meal and then laying down, falling asleep within the same hour, your body is still working to try to digest all of that. That means you're not getting restful sleep. Okay. And then you don't want to disrupt the melatonin, the natural melatonin production of the body by eating a heavy meal just before bedtime. All right. So the gut functions best when we're not eating, we're not doing anything, we're just resting. All right. So we need to aim for at least 7 to 8 hours per night and avoid heavy meals and screens before bedtime. Then strategy number 5, using gentle gut supplements. And I put in parentheses if needed because I'm a strong proponent for natural. Okay. And if you're doing natural, there's no need for you to add additional processed supplements to your diet. And I say this when I say about the different detox supplements that are on the market. I mean, your liver is a natural detoxification system. Unless there's something wrong with your liver, I mean, your liver is a natural detox warehouse where there's no need for you to put in additional supplements to detox. Okay. There are natural ways for your body that naturally already detoxes itself. Okay. However, remember when we spoke about overuse of antibiotics? Okay. In that instance, or for other patients or clients who have conditions like long-term use, definite appropriate long-term use of antibiotics, or you have complications such as Clostridium difficile or C. diff, which is a sporous bacteria that destroys the healthy lining, the gut bacteria, and results in diarrhea. Okay. In those instances, there are others. You can use a probiotic, an over-the-counter probiotic, okay, to help to rapidly replace the good gut biotic, okay, of the body. Magnesium is another one that helps to support muscle function in the gut and helps to keep regular bowel movements. But again, these are not needed on a daily basis, and you don't want to overuse these, okay? You don't want to overuse these because they're going to end up being harmful than helpful. And then remember, we said always consult with your healthcare provider before making any changes to your health or adding or subtracting any medications. Because here's the thing, when you do that, you could be taking a supplement, even though it's over the counter, that negatively interacts with your chronic health condition medications. And you don't want that. Or, for example, you could be taking uh, like vitamin K or magnesium citrate, okay, because you can't have a bowel movement. You don't want to use that every day because that's going to cause you to have rapid bowel movement that can disrupt the electrolyte balance in your body. So you have to be really careful and mindful of the things that you are buying on TikTok, not to call anybody out, and on those infomercials, because you want to consult your healthcare provider and ensure that you are doing the right thing. Okay. Then let us sort of review real quickly. Okay. Let us review real quickly. What is one small thing you can commit to this week for your gut? Okay. What is one small thing that you can commit to today that will be of benefit for your gut health in the short term and in the long term? What's one thing that you can commit to today or for this week coming that will help to um, strengthen your gut health, refresh, replenish, and help to reduce inflammation of your gut today? One simple thing could be drinking more water. We spoke about making sure that we are hydrated to flush the toxins from our body. Another thing that we can do is making sure that we are eating healthy foods that have fiber in it. So fiber helps to help us to have regular elimination of waste. Okay. Swapping soda, sweet teas with water or lemon water or unsweetened tea. Okay. Eating more green leafy vegetables such as kale or spinach is also good to help to commit to your gut health. All right. So if you have any questions, any concerns, we have a community. We actually have two community. We have a private Facebook group called the Reset Room on Facebook, where you will have the opportunity to ask questions, especially after today's webinar. You can ask questions this coming week or in the future about your gut health. And for our participants who signed up, stayed on the webinar, you'll have access to a free gut health reset checklist free of cost today, where you can have a summary, a synopsis of today's presentation that you can follow to ensure that you are remaining committed to your gut health. Additionally, if today's session resonated with you, be sure to subscribe to our Facebook and our Instagram page at the Practitioner Collective, as well as our YouTube channel, Blueprint to Thrive, where we'll also be putting this presentation on YouTube later this week so that you will have access to review the information being presented today. Additionally, we will be having a gut reset workbook that will be launching this week. And we're also going to be launching our 7-day juicing challenge, workbook this week as well. So you don't want to miss out on any of these opportunities to gain more information to be empowered for your health. So be sure to like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the Practitioner Collective, as well as our YouTube page, Blueprint to Thrive. And also join our Facebook group called the Reset Room, where you'll have access, first line access to resources. And we normally have meal prep ideas, and other helpful tips that you can have access to share as well with your family, friends, and your community. Okay, but before I leave today, before I go today, I want to be sure that if you guys have any questions, that I went ahead and placed the information for our Facebook, Instagram page and our private Facebook group, the Reset Room. And be sure to check out our website, okay? Where you'll be able to have access to our coaching plans, ebooks, our Thrive Gear. And we also have different plans such as meal prep, accountability plan, chronic condition support plan. And as always, thank you so much for listening to today's free gut health webinar. And we'll be having these webinars on a monthly basis. And of course, they'll always be free. So share with someone else who really could benefit from today's session. And if you missed last month's session, we spoke on diabetes and diets. And even if you don't have diabetes, It speaks about learning how to read food labels, um, and how to consume a healthy, nutrient-dense, low-carb diet for those who are trying to lose weight and just trying to eat healthier. Okay? So that is all I have for you all today. Thank you so much again for stopping by in our monthly webinar. I appreciate you so much. And until next time, thrive and live well.